Great movie. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with Omi Homie episode number 82, talking about Omi burns, VeVe users, and more. My co-host Crypto Rain. Everyone say hello, Dashi. Hello, Dashi. And my man, I missed you last week because I was incapacitated with the flu, still recovering. What have you been up to? What is going on in the macro that I might have missed? Because I've been ill.
Such amazing stuff. Like, there's no magic crystal ball to predict the future, but you can see trends coming when you're looking at the right things. And so, like in 2020, it was hard to tell in the bear market exactly when the bull market would hit. By 2020, like all the right things were lining up. Like you had George Soros buying Bitcoin at $6,000. You had Elon Musk buying Bitcoin at $6,000. And that kind of started the trend, the upswing of Bitcoin. But later on, there was just all this bubbling to the surface where then by February and March, altcoins really started to kick off in early 2021. We're going through some of those momentum things. And a lot of people in the crypto space have been frustrated because this hasn't been like a normal 4-year cycle. It's been 5 years. And so some people are like, oh my gosh, the 4-year cycle is dead. Because if we look back, it's like, why does the 4-year cycle happen? Now, Bitcoin's halving is a big factor in that, but it's not the only factor. And we're realizing how critical this other factor is, and it's the money supply growth. So if you look back at the charts, guess what also coincides with altcoins really, really going up? And not only Bitcoin peaking, but altcoins having their cycle. The M2 money supply growth or interest rates coming down, causing a lot more money going into risk on assets. Well, Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve, normally they lower interest rates going into the presidential election, which they did twice right before the presidential election. And then when with Trump in office and the presumptive nominee, like he didn't lower interest rates again for like a year. And he's taken forever to really bring down interest rates. So they've been lowering them some now, but they're still quite high. But it looks like Polymarket says this rate cut coming up, or this review period, they'll probably cut rates another 0.25%. But then into next year, probably some more. And Trump gets to replace Jerome Powell in May, if not sooner. So that's going to cascade a lot of money coming into riskier assets. Crypto has been one of the biggest beneficiaries of that in past times, but normally this would have happened a year ago. So doesn't it make sense why it's a 5-year cycle? Now, some people have given up and moved on and whatever. They're like, oh, crypto's a scam, crypto's terrible. And they haven't taken the time to really understand the mechanisms and haven't had the patience to let it play out and make the major gains for them that they came into here to experience. But those that are learning how to look at this right and have the patience to let it play out, the rewards are going to be amazing. So a lot of what we covered last week was crypto, the altcoin cycle, stuff related to Omi. Didn't get too heavy into VeVe Collectibles and the latest VeVe news, because crypto altcoins and making money through crypto is a lot more my strength than the day-to-day things at VeVe.
Agreed. I don't know about you, but a lot of what I've seen on TikTok, what I've seen with Bay's kids and other friends' kids, is that 6-7 is a big thing. 6-7 a big thing with your kids.
What do the kids do? 6, 7. I don't even know why.
Total Golf saying, owe me to 67 cents.
I like it.
That'd be great. We would love it. Ben and Korea, love everyone here. Kuma, my guys, everyone going over. Yes, Kathy Wood says 4-year cycles are over. What's up, everybody? We're all waiting patiently for the spring.
Careful, like what's thing? Kathy Wood says 4-year cycles are over, but what that does is it confuses people. It's like, look, cycles are not over, and they're not going to be over, but it's just not perfectly encapsulated in this 4-year cycle. Now, it may return to that, but clearly this hasn't been a 4-year cycle this time. It's just the Bitcoin halving usually a year after Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin's price goes up massively, which it has, but probably not to its highs. And what we've been missing is interest rates coming down. Now, that got delayed by a year. Is that going to throw off future cycles? Who knows? Number two, at some point, there's no more people to adopt crypto. And so it's already widespread. And at that point, the overall returns fall off. And it's just then a new technology sector. Like one of the reasons the gains are so high is you have a new technology being adopted by the world. Like cell phones were an amazing thing to invest in the 1990s. But by 2005, 2010, most people already had a cell phone. So then the returns on cell phone company investments fell off compared to what they had been.
Agreed. There's a lot of, I think, people that would argue we're in a super cycle now just because of a tweet by CZ this morning. CZ saying that we're potentially in that super cycle, and everyone kind of ran with it. And you saw a bit of a pump. Now, I think maybe the pump could have been from that. It could have been from the fact that Polymarket has rate cuts at like 96%, so it's running, and then we sell off tomorrow. That's fine. In the future, again, we don't know how long it's going to take for crypto to get mass adopted, but I don't know if you heard that Trump just announced that tens of millions of kids that live in areas or zip codes with an average of 150,000 income or less will get about $1,000 each, funded by a donation from billionaire Michael Dell and seed money from the Trump administration. Dell's donated about $6.25 billion towards the effort so far, and that at 18, Americans then gain access to the account, which will have been invested since their birth, and will ideally have multiplied in that time. When talking about the transfer of wealth from boomers to millennials, I don't think bonds are very sexy, or T-bills are very sexy for millennials. Stocks can be, but I think crypto, right? You've had these big like eat the rich and big like okay boomer things where people are like, yeah, well, we couldn't get houses for $40,000. We have to pay hundreds of thousands for houses. And to their credit, they're correct, but children in the future won't be able to get Bitcoin for sub 100K. They'll have to probably pay hundreds of thousands if they want a full Bitcoin. So I feel like for millennials, this is going to be our thing. Yeah, we bought Bitcoin or crypto at these prices. At what point do you think that might fall off? Like, at what point do we get so mass adopted where the returns just aren't there anymore?
The next cycle. So
that quick?
There might be, yeah. So it'll start falling off because we'll go from this cycle to like 3% widespread adoption, where like 3% are pretty heavy in crypto, to like 50%. And so then going from 50% to say 75% in the following cycle, it just starts to fall off. And so like the returns just aren't as meaningful. That doesn't mean you can't make money with like low market cap companies that are new innovations that then become big. But the overall trend starts to diminish because one of the reasons it's so massively profitable is each cycle, a bigger pool of the world is adopting it. And even though some flitter away, like the core keeps getting bigger during the bear market. So this bear market has more people involved than the previous bear market. And that bear market had more people involved than the previous one. So it keeps gaining momentum. And this bull run will have more people involved than the last bull run. And so at a certain point, you run out of people to adopt unless, the aliens from Mars, make themselves known, and then they start buying crypto. And I don't know what they'd buy it with, gold bars, maybe.
Maybe. There's been a lot of, I guess, negative sentiment. Not today. Today everything pumped, but recently because there was a lot of outflows from Bitcoin and from Ethereum, and they're correct, but the outflows aren't going to fiat. If you look at the data, a lot of the outflows are really just going into stable coins. So it's not people that are going in and they're saying they're done with crypto and they're packing it up and headed home. It's a lot of people that might have thought a bigger dip was coming, and or they're waiting they just want dry powder on the side for when things start to really go crazy. You have, I think, 22 trillion in money market assets that's going to find a place somewhere. Obviously, we have these narratives that will run. Digital collecting, we think, will be one of them. Do you think that VeVe can kind of nudge into any other narrative outside of digital collecting, like metaverse? They could possibly do.
Yeah.
Do you think they could possibly, if they could get into gaming, is that something that might be is the juice worth the squeeze, or is that just like, well, we tried that with the metaverse and a couple dozen people use it. We could try it with gaming, spend another $1 million, and just one of your thoughts on what they should do and in that aspect.
I think they should be the very best in digital collecting. Don't try to divert their attention towards blockchain gaming. Though if they can make a good enough VeVeverse, then they can allow other companies that are good at building games to build a game inside of it. That's fine. But you focus on being the best in the digital collecting narrative, because that's going to be a huge narrative. Like, during the bear market, it's like August 2020. And of course, most people have washed out during the bear market. It's all the way in August. Like the bear market really started 2018. So by mid 2020, most people are dead and out of crypto, and it's terrible and what a scam. And they come out with this new idea of like digital video moments of NBA, and it was called NBA Top Shots. I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Totally makes sense why blockchain is needed for this type of digital collectible. You're buying it from them, like they have the NBA license, and when you buy a moment, you have that license. I was like, this is amazing. I think this is going to do well. And, I put $1,100 in, and within about 6 months, it was worth about $185,000. Why? This narrative is big. Really big. Now, does it feel like that now? No, it doesn't. It feels the opposite. It's like, oh my gosh. But that's because we're not going through, like, green candles bring bigger green candles. So as money massively starts to move in here, the flood of people that will come in would overwhelm you. You'll be like in a crowded theater where like Justin Bieber is up on stage, and you got 15 million teenage girls out front trying to get in. Like that's what it will feel like. You're like, whoa, God. You feel like the stage is getting rushed, and you're in the way, and you're not feeling that yet because we're not there yet. And that becomes really fun when you've actually made all your purchases during the bear market and you're waiting, and then that comes together. Like Justin Bieber's getting ready to be brought up stage, and all these girls are starting to fill the parking lot and starting to filter in, but the mass hysteria has not happened yet, but that is coming.
Soon. That mass hysteria we've all been waiting for. There was not a week ago, Moonbirds had the Burb box openings. They had just gone over and said like, hey, we're putting out this product. I don't know if they were trying to form a TCG or if they were trying to do a just physical collectibles in general. I don't know if they actually have a playable game with those cards or if they're just collector's items. But Star Wars just announced with today, it's with CCG and with Zero. What's the name of this? 036 Studio about an actual TCG game, a trading card game. It will be digital, and they're getting into trading cards, an actual game, and it doesn't appear to be on VeVe. I have my own thoughts on this and why it's probably good that VeVe's not touching it, but from an investor's point of view, when something like this happens in the digital space and it doesn't happen with VeVe, how does that make you feel?
Look, I really wish David would have seen the vision with token card games like 3 years ago. But in order for it to be going well now with like launching these token card games on VeVe, they would have had to really start that like 3 years ago. I think, David went to a conference about token card games and like opening packs and card collectibles. I just don't think that's been his experience. His experience been toys and comics. But that's a huge avenue. I wish they had gone in because like it's not too hard to design the rules of a game related to that. So if they were going to go into gaming, that would be the area for them to focus on, or allow somebody to build that within their app. and their app just authenticating and creating a marketplace for you to be able to buy and sell those collectibles, that would have been great. But for now, they missed that boat because they had the Star Wars license. Now, they didn't have it specific to token card games and digital cards. I wish they had gone after that sooner. Maybe they'll go down that road. I hope they do. Now, will the Star Wars one come together? It depends on how good the game is. Like, Star Wars is a huge name. It'll carry some weight just because the name anyway. Will a lot of people play it? I don't know that actual Star Wars card games have ever done that well historically. But there might be some collecting value in those. Especially if they launch in time and then the bull run goes crazy. Probably there'll be some returns there. But those aren't something I would buy and then hold into the following bear market. I would absolutely take profits of that during the crazy times, because I don't know whether those will have huge long-term potential. Maybe.
Yeah, to get long-term potential is hard. Now there are a bunch of trading card games that are made all the time, and almost none of them catch on. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering are like the big three. And outside of that, there are others that I assume that are pretty popular in the trading card game world. But aside from those, I don't know any. And, it's the idea that Star Wars can come along and make a popular trading card game. If anyone can do it, it might be them, because they're going to have a bunch of people interested. Okay, I'm going to play it. I'm going to see what it's about. And they'll have that initial interest. But you've had the creator of Magic create 12 other card games, and they've never taken off because it's very hard to do. So I would rather, in this scenario, I'd rather someone else try it first, because I don't know if Star Wars knows how difficult it is to do that. I would rather somebody else take this challenge, because I would rather not take the challenge and then run the risk of somebody else succeeding versus trying and then failing, and then it's looked at as VeVe's failure, even though nobody succeeds at TCG. So that's why silver lining that they didn't pick VeVe. It's possible they could have picked VeVe and VeVe said no, that we don't want to do it, and that would have been great. But that's just kind of my initial thoughts on it. One Piece is, I don't know anyone. I know one person that plays it, Rashid Al Farouk. He plays it, and he has people play it at his convention at SpeedyCon over in Dubai. But there's no, I don't know anyone else in there that plays it with him. Question about Collect Chain. I guess this would go to you as well. And I talked about this on a Twitter space this morning. Somebody had asked me about okay, are VeVe collectibles NFTs yet? Because I guess they were under the assumption that under the premise that, well, if you can't self-custody them, they're not NFTs. And thankfully now we have that clapback. I was like, well, actually, they're already on Immutable X, so they are NFTs. But if you want to talk about self-custody, yes, they've already started the transition for it. They had tons of transactions on there recently. In the short and long term, how do you think that affects VeVe? Have we seen the initial pump, and that's all we're going to see, or do you think we have more of a pump to go with the new Collect Chain announcement?
Well, so the Collect Chain announcement is a fundamental shift, correcting a problem that people have been complaining about for a long time. But we've seen the initial pump, but the real pump hasn't really begun. And so it's just another fundamental shift that I think is good. I love it. When I heard that announcement, I was like, this is a really big deal. I'm really excited about that. But the major gains have not yet been realized. I mean, we had a 100% increase, and then it's pulled back. So, maybe things are up 60% from their lows. Those lows should never have been hit. And the beauty of it is, yet they were. I know somebody that stocked up massive amounts of OMI at those prices. They're at over 1 billion OMI now. Good job. They get it, buy low, sell high. And right now it's still buy low time. Most people don't get that. That's okay. I did just release a video specific to that and why so many people are doing crypto wrong. and talked about some of my favorite picks. But I still always get baffled that like the failure rate in crypto investment is so high. But kind of to your point, like you were alluding to this indirectly just 3 minutes ago, of like what we're really doing here is we're early stage business investors. It's like, okay, is this token card game going to go well? Well, it's helpful to know that most don't do well. But people think, oh, I'm in crypto, and they just throw money blindly at whatever project without researching, okay, historically, how do token card games go? Okay, Star Wars license, have other physical card games done well? Like they don't get into the research. They're just like, yes, Star Wars, throw money at it. And it's like, it could go well. It's kind of like rolling the dice and you're trying to get a 5 or a 6, and sometimes you will get a 5 or 6. But I like to take bets where the odds are stacked for me. Like what I like about VeVe is I think Digital Collectibles is going to be a big thing in the future. They have the #1 digital collectibles app. They already have a big fan base. They've got some of the most amazing licenses, like so many of the most amazing licenses in the world already, and probably have even more that we don't know about. So like they're what I call a higher probability bet. And because their token price has been so punished by the bear market, they've got huge potential for an upside. That's the kind of bets I'm looking for. It's just early stage business investment. But so many people are new to thinking about the business metrics. And some of the people in crypto are literally 16, 18, 20. They're brand new to business in general. They've only ever been an employee. So they come in the crypto space and they're like, yeah, let me get this meme coin and let me get this. And they're technically investing in crypto, but they're investing by just throwing darts at moving targets. And they're not taking the time to understand what they're doing. And then they're mad when they lose all their money because probably they bought high, even if they bought the right projects. And then they correct downwards and they sell and they lose money. And they're like, crypto's bad. It's like, well, it is when you're doing it wrong and you're just doing it wrong.
Agreed. There's Arcturus saying, impatiently waiting for the Kraken OMI listing. And Kraken had announced a few days ago listing a new token on a previously integrated blockchain. Bluefin Boost, Cooties, Open Campus, Ica, Lagone, Lava Network Lite, Loaded Lions, Map Protocol, MyShell, Navi Protocol, Nexo, Pepe Coin, Akomi, Sweet Name Services, Sweet End, Solve Protocol, and Minotauri. So there's a couple people that were thinking that was their marketing that they did. I don't think that's their marketing. I think they'll probably make a post about OMI at some point when they decide to go in and actually list it. Foster mentioned something about December. Actually, yesterday was December 8th. So I guess sometime after December 8th, there could be some type of post from them saying when they're going to list it. We're not sure when, but apparently, On My Way has a announcement for us. I don't think it's going to come on here. I think they're going to announce it on VeVe. It was not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even though we have a new turtle coming out later this month, I think, or early next month. I have no idea. I don't know if it's the major. Did you hear him on a space before? Because I did not. Did you have did you hear him on a space before talking about it?
You asking me?
Yeah. Because I have not either. I was looking for stuff and I was not able to do it. Well, guys, we'll keep you posted. Anyway, there's a new level 100 thing for the next 101 to 200 people that get to level 100. You're pretty high on the list. Do you think you'll make that?
Maybe. I put most of my investment dollars into OMI rather than VeVe Collectibles.
Yeah.
So, like, would I love to have been in the first 100? Like, I had enough money allocated into VeVe's ecosystem through their token and VeVe apps, but I put about 85 to probably 90% into OMI and only 10% in the collectibles. And I still have a ton of collectibles. I think I'm level 80 something. So will I make it in the first or the second batch of 100s? I don't know. Like if I went massive into a bunch of collectibles maybe, but I don't know. It would be kind of cool. I do love like VeVe stuff. I'll have some of my VeVe collectibles for forever. But one of the big things that brought me into the VeVe ecosystem is I love things that go up in value. I love letting my money work for me. Like, I don't know who else here is like, I don't know if lazy is kind of the right word. It kind of is and kind of isn't, because like I'm willing to put in 105-hour work weeks if it leads to me never having to work again. So this idea of letting your money make money for you, to me, is so fascinating. It's like, okay, cool. How can I be on a beach for like 6 months and like, or, you know, private yacht through the Caribbean and doing, or the Mediterranean, doing all these cool things. And I come back and my bank account is like way bigger than it was before. Well, only through making your money make money for you, or that's the best way. And so this early digital collectibles investment space was fascinating to me, like Batman and then Superman, and then they got Marvel Comics, like holy cow, and they got Disney. So part of me is my inner nerd, like loves this stuff. But 80% of it is the investment behind it. That's like cool. So I think OMI outperforms on average what the VeVe collectibles do. So that's where most of my money is gone. Though part of me is like, dang it, I would have loved to be in the first 100, even the second 100 VeVe collectors. Should I have allocated differently? Part of me says, yes, I should have. The other part of me is like, OMI's going to do so fine. You won't worry about it. You know, buy yourself an extra Lamborghini and make yourself feel better.
The tears will hit those leather seats. Be like, we'll be fine. So there was a Decentraland, I don't want to say upgrade. They launched like a music festival with some experiences, and they had like some unlockables on there as well. And a lot of their community was getting like excited about it. I don't know how many people outside their community was ready to take a look now because of it. But I guess the question is like, again, I think the VeVeverse is beautiful, and some people make exquisite work, and it's art. But again, there's not a ton of users, not a ton of people are excited about it. Is it something where you think, okay, if we just allocate enough resources to it until the metaverse narrative hits, it'll be good? Or is it like, we spent a lot on this, not a lot of people are using it, we shouldn't spend too much more on it?
Why spend too much more on it right now? That's my bigger question. Like,
probably just to get ready. Like,
yeah, they can get ready for a bigger adoption wave if there's specific things that they want to do, like being able to have more people interact in the same rooms. Like, I remember 2017, 2018, first time I heard about the metaverse narrative, and it was this project called Decentraland. And my friend was all big on it. The one that got me into crypto, he's like, oh, this idea of Decentraland is going to be the biggest thing in their token mana, and I'm buying lots of it at 7 cents. And then 11 cents and he was buying Decentraland during the late 2017 bull market. And he made some money on it. I think he took some profits, and it went way, way down. And then when Decentraland like finally launched after all this build up, and you could own land in it and stuff, really cool concept. I remember I went in this thing. There's like, yeah, if you get in, you can win these prizes. So I got in, and there's like 15 other people, and I'm like jumping around. I'm like, this is so damn boring. I'm like, damn, I guess I never thought through this, but like, I'm bored to tears. And now I got to wait around for 45 minutes for them to do like the drawing on who the winner is, which I didn't win. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, well, shoot. So then later they did another thing where you could win some things by going through and doing these different things. And I ended up winning some legendary items, which was cool. But boy, what a pain it was. And I was like, oh, this idea of metaverse, I guess I never thought through, like, how cool is it really? Now, specifically what VeVe is doing is it's an expanded showroom, which is amazing. Because what do people want to do with their digital collectibles? They want to show them off. Now, the one thing I think they could work on that would make the VeVeverse much, much bigger is make it easy to link to from your socials, so that, say, from your Twitter account, somebody can click on your link, go into your VeVeverse showroom, and walk around from their browser. I vote yes on that. Anything else, don't do it. That, yes, because then, like, people who have massive money, who I hope come into VeVe, that's what I'm betting on. They want to show off their cool shit. They want it like a social flex. Like, do you think in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, where they pay like $10 million for a single digit license plate number, do you think they keep that car in the garage where nobody sees it? No, they take it out and drive it around because that's the way you can see that they have such a cool flex. So if you make it so people can socially flex their super rare VeVe items easily on their socials, which everybody's using, well, then you're going to get way more traction and adoption. So, like, if you're going to do anything on the VeVe verse right now, that is the focus. Anything else, like, what are you doing? Don't spend the resources except for that. Spend the resources. Get that ready. Because when the bull market goes crazy, you want Justin Bieber on his Instagram to say, hey, check this out. Link is here. And then people link on it, and then they're running around. They're like, well, he has one of these. I want one of these. And then other people that have way more money than Justin Bieber are like, fuck Justin Bieber. I'm going to buy 100 of those. You know, that's what I want. Clearly, I have strong opinions on this.
I still remember one time in an interview, Ozzy Osbourne was asked about Justin Bieber. I was like, the fuck's a Bieber? And they just had no idea who he was. I was like, Ozzy, my man. They wound up doing a Verizon 4G commercial months later for like the Super Bowl, where they were talking about 4G coming up and the thing. Anyway, many people, a lot of fudders, not that Arcturus is a fudder, but going to this question, they had said that, you know, Omi's in a, it's a second cycle token, it's in an old narrative. You know, what's a good way for them to get a pop the second time around? Since it's not going to be the new kid on the block, it'll be something that comes back. I'm not saying that it'll be retro, but what's a good way that they can stand out compared to others?
Well, so one of the big arguments I hear from people is like, oh, the second time around cryptos don't gain traction. It's like, that's not true at all. A lot of cryptos don't gain traction, but then a lot of them do. So why do some gain traction and other ones don't? Because some suck. They haven't built anything meaningful, and they just had a narrative that they just happened to be in that narrative when it went around, but fundamentally they haven't built anything special. And so ETH did find its second cycle. Cardano did find its second cycle. Solana did find its second cycle. So there are lots of examples. The question is, like, how relevant is it in the narrative? Is it in a narrative where it has something meaningful in that narrative? Secondly, there's tokenomics. There's other things that are involved. Timing is important, but like Omi's well positioned. Like, I don't doubt Omi's going to do really well. I think Digital Collectibles is an amazing narrative, and they're the leader in it. So I don't see why Omi doesn't do well. They're dominating a narrative that's a really big narrative. You just got to wait for money to be coming in, and that's when all of a sudden fundamentals become really important. Like during the bear market, fundamentals are a little bit important. People get bored, and they just throw money wildly at like meme coins and stuff because it's fun. And they're just bored. But when massive amounts of money are coming in, all of a sudden, you'll see that fundamentals become really important. Some narratives where companies are too new to really have strong fundamentals because they just launch and everything, sometimes those will do well. But ones that are in their second cycle, they're really only going to do well if their fundamentals are really strong. And so I really like Omi's fundamentals. That's why I think it does well.
Fundamentals, in my opinion, are the name of the game. Speaking of meme coins, Black Vigil's asking if Chuck is dead. Well, I haven't heard from anyone talk about Chuck in a while. I just checked. Got about a $300,000 market cap, so I'm not putting any money into it. But
I really wish I had sold all my Omi and rolled it all into Chuck.
That's
just kidding. Like we had those arguments, right? We used to be on another show, and like I felt like one day we came in, we were like set up it, like everyone had bought in early, everyone else that was on it other than Randy and I, had bought in early to Chuck were like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Omi's dead. And it's like, whoa, what did we walk into here? I was like, look, who knows? Chuck's a meme coin. Could do well, maybe, hoping to get enough traction, which they never did because somebody dumped really hard, crashed the price that's never recovered so far. It's just not my type of investment because, like, fundamentals, here's the challenge with crypto is predictability. Like, why does counting cards work when the odds are stacked in the favor of the casino? Well, you're counting cards to realize when the odds are actually stacked for you rather than the casino. And that's why they don't like it when you count cards, because you're stacking the odds in your favor. Now, research and fundamentals is like realizing when the odds are stacked for you and taking those bets. And so why am I going to take some meme coin bet? Some meme coins, it's like, oh, some meme coins gone 1,000x or 5,000x. It's like, yes, 1 out of every 30,000. Those odds kind of suck. Sure, because I have a YouTube channel, I get offered to participate in meme coins where they have a whole bunch of influencers. They're going to promote it and they have a better chance of making it. I'm not going to mess with that stuff because it's so profitable to take these kind of bets where the odds are stacked for you using research to realize when the odds are stacked for you. Like, in my opinion, Omi is one of those great ones. All of you can participate in it too. So my audience gets to participate in the exact same kind of things I am. We can all do this together and we just see how it goes. There's no guarantee that Omi's going to do well. But I can tell you, the odds are stacked really good for us, in my opinion. And that's why I'm so heavy on Omi.
Hell yeah.
We missed a question there that I wanted to go into. Hi there. Hey, Rain, there are major indicators that have been broken which follow the 4-year cycles. Your thoughts? I really hope you're right. The pump's yet to come. I'm not ready to say bye to Randy yet. So I hear all the time, like, the 4-year cycle is broken, and yes and no. Like, the overall cycle isn't broken. It's going to take 5 years rather than 4. Why? It really comes down to Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve in the U.S. not lowering interest rates sooner. Now, you could make the case that because inflation was so high, they were being prudent and slow to bring that down till inflation was more under control. Okay. Maybe it was political. Maybe it was that. But for whatever reason, interest rates have stayed really, really high. So the M2 money supply growth, which is usually also come every 4 years, just like the Bitcoin halving, and those two things coincided, is what made the market really pop. And so the market hasn't really popped to the upside yet. So a lot of people are like, oh, 4-year cycle. It's been 4 years. We've seen all the things, and then it's going to go down. It's like, no, we haven't seen anything yet. It's still coming. And yes, I know so many people are telling me I'm wrong on that. That's cool. We're going to see how it plays out. I say the odds are stacked so good for this coming wave of money that's preparing to come into crypto, like, you can't even imagine. Those who are in my private Discord know. If you've been following the channel, we call it the Crypto Adoption Channel, and the amount of articles in there of the money that is pouring in from institutions into crypto, like, you see the wave coming. A lot of people that just follow random channels on crypto and stuff, there is like the blind leading the blind. Realize that most crypto YouTubers are not rich through crypto investment. If they have a big enough channel, they might be making $100,000 a month by advertisers, but it's not from actually making good investments themselves because they're not very good at this space. They're just good at talking about it. Kind of like during the gold rush, people made a lot of money selling shovels to the miners, but they had no idea how to actually help you find the gold. They just sold you the shovels. Cool. There's a place for the people that are good at that. But I often hear in that story, it's like, oh yeah, nobody made money actually mining for gold. And that's not true. Some people made complete fortunes mining for gold. The ones who became really good at it. And they made far more than those selling shovels. But the bigger thing is, oh, don't focus on that. Just sell shovels to the miners. It's like, I don't know. I'm here because this is where the gold is. And you can make amazing money by becoming good at it. Not only that, as you learn these skills, it will apply to other things in your life. So it's all about the skill of figuring out how to let your money make money for you. Because I don't know about you guys. I don't want to put in, well, I'm already at a place I don't have to put in 40 hours a week anymore. That ended for me in 2021 because of one cycle, one bull run after preparing during the bear market. And a second one that you're prepared for can, like, you can live whatever kind of crazy lifestyle you want if you maximize your use out of those 2 cycles. So that's still ahead of us. It's coming, and great. It's good that so many people are saying it's not. You would expect that, because remember, 95% of people do not make massive gains in crypto. 95%. So as it sounds like I'm 1 out of 20 people saying this, it's because I am 1 out of 20 people saying that this massive thing is coming up, and that 19 people disagree with me. Perfect. That's what I want to hear.
It's like the dentist and Trident gum, the or Orbit gum, whatever it's called. So I think there's also, I don't know if it's attention span. You talk about recency bias, where a lot of people, they don't have a fundamental understanding of where value comes from, and they'll take a look. And most people that will kind of make fun of you or poke fun of you for it will be people in like your family or like friends, especially if you haven't been right about certain things before. You'll go on, you'll have a sound investment, and it'll be down in crypto, especially if you buy it in the bull market. It'll be down for years in the bear. And every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, well, yeah, how's that funny money working for you? You rich yet? And that's why a lot of people, get out. They don't make it. And I had heard that from, because again, they're not looking at the underlying business. They're not, and granted, most cryptos don't have underlying businesses. Most of them go on like vibes and memes, and it's ridiculous how some of those make money. Very small percentage, but you have people that have never run a business before that are telling you like where to put. Like, ask someone, they'll give you their opinion. Their opinion is probably not backed by any type of logic or data. It's just what they know, and what they know might just be a little bit of knowledge that could be very dangerous. And even when you have a good investment, a lot of times it doesn't make money. Or if you have somebody that has a little bit of knowledge and they say, look at Tesla, they're not profitable, they're not making money. It's okay, well, let's go deep into that. Why are they not profitable? Is it because they're not selling anything, or are they taking what would be profits and putting it into making new gigafactories and making new vehicles and it's like, okay, well, the reason they're not profitable is because they're doing X, Y, and Z. And like you said, that's why a lot of people don't make it in stocks, in business, in crypto. So yeah, you take a look at OMI and it's like, okay, this chart looks dead. It's an entire narrative, but the underlying company still makes money. And they've been giving OMI more utility than 99% of any other crypto out there. Even like utility tokens. Like, yeah, you can use our token to buy, this merch, these shirts, these hats, these NFTs. And it's like, okay, that's good if you could have that, but why am I buying these NFTs? And if it's I'm just going to make up a name, like Cool Cats. That might have actually been a project. It's like, yes, you can take the Cool Cat token and you can buy Cool Cats, but why is that why would somebody want to buy that? And it's like, well, if you have an underlying story, if you have like a comic book, if you have like a cartoon, cool, that could be nostalgia, that can connect with people. But they did this really interesting thing where they didn't have any of their own IP, VeVe, because they knew that whatever they made would be writ small by any minor comic book character. So they partnered with Marvel, and they partnered with Disney, and they partnered with all these people, and they might not care about David and Dan's story and their passion for their own IP, whatever they put in, but they'll care about Spider-Man, and they'll care about these things. And I think it's only a matter of time before the greater nerd fandom comes in, and they want to collect in a different way, where they run out of space. They don't have to worry about sunlight or temperature. They just have it in there. I know I've gone on this long-winded thing here. So time for a fun question. Normally hits 2 cents. What's the first sport car you're buying?
So for those that are in my private group, you guys know that I drive like just a Ford Fiesta still. Yes, I could have bought a nicer car. Is it like I've had $100,000 investment go bad for me during the bear market that just went bust, and it's like I'm driving around a $2,200 car, and it's just because of delayed gratification. Could I buy something way nicer? Yes, but then I got higher insurance costs and other things. And I've been putting everything back in the crypto that I can, because I don't know about you guys, but my goal is to be like, have hundreds of millions, not just like 2 million, 3 million. I already hit those numbers. Like, my goal is crazy numbers. Why? Because I want to be able to put half into passive income assets and live really, really, really well off those passive incomes. So my goals are pretty crazy, and I'm willing to squeeze my spending still, even though I don't need to anymore. Just have a nice. But my first thing I'm going to buy isn't a sports car. It's a super crazy truck. It's going to cost about $250,000. So essentially, they take a Dodge Ram body and they upgrade it a whole bunch and do all these cool, crazy things to it. Make it so it has an extra row, so it can hold extra passengers. And then I'm probably going to paint it gold and super flashy. It's going to cost me about $300,000. Then I'll start buying the sports car for supercar for every day of the week. So, yeah. So, and viewers, I'll take you on that journey, right? So not only buying the vehicle, I'll probably go down there to where they make them in Florida, but then, do a video with those guys. And then there's a company out of Japan that I want to do the painting. They do amazing paint jobs, like incredible. So I don't know if I might have to fly one of their guys out and rent a space for him to because I don't want to ship the car to Japan to get painted and then have it come back with a truck. But the first one is going to be a car, and I'll probably paint it gold, which is a little bit risky because people are like, "That's rain. I hate that motherfucker." Let's jump in. But yeah, it'll be a very easily identifiable vehicle, but it will be fun. And I like big old. I've wanted a big old massive truck for like 15 years. So I actually will prefer that over like the sports cars, because like Lamborghinis, I don't care about. Like, it'd be fun to drive once a year, but like the sports car for every day of the week, or the supercar for every day of the week, that's really just a marketing thing to like get people's attention because it's so ludicrous. So first, the goal is to get to ridiculous money so that you can make stupid, ridiculous purchases like that. Because is that a stupid, ridiculous purchase? Well, yeah, that's what's so effective about it from a marketing standpoint, is it's kind of stupid and ridiculous to have like your Monday Lamborghini, your Tuesday Ferrari, your Wednesday, whatever, $250,000 car, or maybe $700,000 car. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Is it a waste of money? Not if it works to get my message out to more people. Not if it helps us get interviews with those companies we really want to make early investments in. Yeah, it's just a different way of going about getting those doors opened.
Hell yeah.
Jason Pena's got style. He wants a G-Wagon blacked out. So question for you, Jason, because I did look into G-Wagons because they are pretty cool. Do you like driving Jeeps? Because they do feel like driving a Jeep, that kind of loose feeling that feels, they're great for off-roading, amazing for off-roading, but they don't have that tight steering, and they're a little bit uncomfortable to drive, but some people love that Jeep feeling.
Let him answer that. Cybertruck, which I don't know if that's considered like a supercar. It is really cool though, bulletproof. Definitely want that. And then I want a 67 Chevy Impala. This car I've wanted for like nine years now. I want it.
Are you going to put money into it to get power steering in it and like?
I mean, I don't want to like do shit up with like, like the crate, but maybe like I don't want like an iPod jack, but maybe if I get a Bluetooth in it, bring a little bit in there.
You do want power steering. Well, so I grew up driving on a vehicle without power steering and stuff. Power steering makes your life so good. And so I worked for a company writing their deals, and they had a whole bunch of shit in the garage. One of the things in the garage was a Porsche with a second Porsche with replacement cars, but this is an old Porsche, right? So I bought everything in the garage for like $10,000 and like had a friend partner with me to fix it up and everything. Driving that Porsche sucked. Holy shit. I was like, I hate not having power steering. I was like, I didn't even think about it. It's been so long, but like when you're going slow and you're trying to turn, it sucks. Now, when you're going pretty fast, it's pretty easy. But when you're going slow, you are cranking. I was like,
Okay,
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
I mean, not to get an old car that I don't put in serious money to put in power steering and all the cool things that we enjoy today.
So part of what I said was a reference. So that sounds like a good idea. The reference was spoilers for Supernatural season 4, 3, whatever, where
That's been out there so long. If you're spoiling it for anyone, it's because they don't want to watch it yet.
Dean dies. It's one of the time that he dies, and he comes back, and Sam inherits his 67 Chevy Impala. And when Dean comes back in and he's like, "Oh, baby, I missed you," talking about the car, and he comes in, he's like, "What the heck is that?" And Sam puts in an iPod jack, and he's like, "I told you to take care of her, not douche her up." And so that's what I was saying.
Like the joke. That's funny.
Yeah, you're Colin will get it. He's watched Supernatural a bunch. He'll tell him that joke. He'll get it. Everything collect chains. The new users have to be fiat collection, crypto to deal with. No, I think people are pretty familiar with Stacker. I think all the burns are in there. Collect chain is just the thing that it's on. So I don't think Stacker really needs to change. Would you concur with that? Like there doesn't need to be
like he might not know that like collect chain is being built by Stacker. So like it's just going to run it. So it's like they don't need to drop Stacker. It will just actually integrate with a new chain behind the scenes. You won't even know a difference with either VeVe or Stacker. They'll both interact together. But now through Stacker probably or through VeVe, I don't know. Now you'll be able to export it to your own wallet if you want.
What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Abe bought Futter's tears during the bear market. Love Abe. Oh, me to the moon.
Abe totally. I love the fireman picture because he was totally running into the burning buildings. Like when, so he's in our private Discord, the Rainmaker private Discord. When things would go like way down, you know, Abe was like the first to put on his firefighter mask, run into the burning building and buy it the lows. When everyone else was like, "Oh no, crypto! I'm so scared. Should I sell everything?" And Abe's like, "F that!" You know, he's running in there and scooping up bags. I'm like, "Good job, Abe."
Artur's asking, I don't have any deep in projects. I don't necessarily know what that's about, so I can't say one way or the other. What about yourself? Are you in anything in like deep?
It's a decent narrative. It's a little bit. It's not my favorite narrative, but there are some projects in there that are interesting. The problem when you start to get into like physical infrastructure or when you need like physical like modems and stuff for things to work is like technology gets outdated really quick. And like Solana phones will probably be worth a lot from the collector standpoint, but like I don't think Solana phones are good enough to replace iPhones and stuff. So like I'm cautious on the physical parts of a lot of those projects. Now some of them are like some of them, their narrative makes sense. Other ones not. Remind me, is Deep the one that like kind of burned a lot of their early investors? There was one that came out like, I don't know, 5 years ago. I'm thinking it was Deep. Maybe it wasn't. It burned a lot of their early investors and did some things. If that was them, I'm like, no, I'll never touch anything by those guys. The way they burned them, I was like, I don't remember specifically what they did, but I was like, ooh, I don't like that. And I don't invest in people that would make that kind of decision.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't recall. I can't say one way or the other. I don't know what it is. I haven't looked into it. But any narrative can pop off. Well, it says $1 billion in dividend stocks that 5% pays you $50 million a year. Passive income, you're absolutely correct. You do have to worry about the underlying stock, though. If you're going to do something for 5%, there's T-bills that are at 5%. They might be a little lower now. Rates come down, but I would just do that because T-bills are getting backed by the government. I would just do something a little more solid as opposed to a stock where the underlying company and it could, like, if it's something like Berkshire Hathaway or if it's something that's like hard to get, like a huge company, that's probably fine.
There's lots of options for what I like is passive income that you don't have to actively manage. So it's like people say, oh yeah, my 5 rental properties, that's passive income. It's like, well, let me ask you, do you manage them yourself? Because you're managing them themselves. It's not passive. you're the one that gets called when their 8-year-old flushes a Barbie down the toilet and it's 12 o'clock at night and the toilet is overflowing. It won't feel very passive to them. It's like, oh, we have a property manager. And it's like, well, how much time do you spend managing the property manager? So there's some challenges with real estate truly being passive. There might be, if you have a really amazing property manager, you don't have to worry about it much at all. Like I had an investment in Texas, where was it? Dallas, Texas, McKinney. And I had a property manager there, and he charged me like 18 or 20% of collected rents, which is really, really high. That guy was so good. Like I didn't have to work. Like I didn't think about it. I didn't worry about it. Like when it came up, he would have it rent ready right away. So was he worth every penny of that? Yeah, he was. I didn't love paying, like normally you pay 10% of collected rents. But the guy was worth every penny because that truly was my only like passive real estate investment that like I talked to him once or twice a year. Other than that, like everything was always taken care of. And the once or twice a year was just general strategy. Hey, what do you think about this? Short conversations. Property management like that is worth their weight in gold because outside of that, like property, I've been in real estate for 25 years. It's not very passive.
Oh, okay, sorry. So you were mentioning before about different ways to go about getting people on the channel. Obviously, being super successful helps. And the reasons for getting a big channel is because, again, you can command that presence of like, yeah, I have this many subscribers, this many followers, and you can get a bunch of people. And it's not just, it's a certain type of people, important people that are the CEOs of these companies come on. Follow me on this train of thought. Have you heard of Kabuto King?
No.
He's at this point, probably a Pokemon master. He started buying all of these Kabuto first edition cards, the near mint ones, the raw ones, the ones that were graded. This is probably the most unassuming card that I would have never guessed would go crazy because it's not very playable. It's in like 2 episodes in the original. It's in like a couple of the games, like barely kind of, and it's just. But the dude started buying like there are 3,000-ish graded Kabuto cards for Pokemon, and he might have maybe 100 of them, but the raw cards, he's got like 2,000 of the raw cards.
Wow.
And he probably got the first 400 or 500 without making too big of a kerfluffle. We don't know if he's going to grade them, but that card was probably $50 in first edition PSA 10 6 months ago. It's now $1,100 because this guy is just going on and just going crazy on this one card, maybe because he likes it, whatever. And also the cards surrounding it, known as Kabutops' Evolution, that's at like $4,000 now. It's insane. But the reason I want to ask about this is because this guy wasn't really known before. He was kind of an unknown person, and now he's got 50,000 followers on X, and a signed card of his where he just printed Kabuto King, sold for $51,000 in an eBay auction this week. Logan Paul got outbid. The last 5 seconds, he put it up to 51,000, and then one of like the Pudgy Penguin people put $51,100, and Logan Paul's like crash out. He's like, what? $100? Like it was so bad because we've all been there. And part of the reason it got that high was because he had donated all of it to St. Jude's hospital. He was trying to get the fees waived for that so he could donate more as well. But he did that. He went from like zero to hero in a couple of months. What do you think we could do if we decided to go in and be like, yeah, we're gonna buy all of the princess bubble gums from Adventure Time, and like, and again, not that we would do that. The amount of money we would make from that would be negligible compared to what we could just do in other stuff. But I think a lot of people are missing the influence factor of not just being able to command presence, but kind of dictating where some of that money goes. We have that opportunity, I think, with DevvE over the next couple of weeks, maybe months, maybe weeks, though, where we know a lot of people. We've helped a lot of people get into DevVe, helped them buy it. They're probably going to be like, okay, what's next? Obviously, one of the things that I'm going to DCA into is OMI, and I want to get $1 billion plus OMI, maybe $2 billion. How seriously have you thought about that responsibility of like, okay, a couple 100,000 here and there is one thing, but when there's like millions or tens of millions of dollars that we can direct, that's a horse of a different color. Have you thought about that?
Well, yeah. So it's a microphone effect, and you see some people that have large channels, right? And a lot of them will sell their influence for. I was looking at this video on BitBoy and what he was charging during the bull market of 2021 for sponsored content. And the reason is because if he just covered things, it would go up. And so like that microphone effect has to be used responsibly, right? Which is what I like is like, I'm here for life-changing gains in crypto. Like for those that want an investor who has a YouTube channel, like that's what I specialize in. I'm not an amazing YouTuber. I'm just a really good investor and sharing with people the principles that make me good at this. I'm not magic. I just have learned what are the principles for sound investing. I've learned to research companies so that I'm taking odds that are stacked in my favor, but like not every bet even works out, and people can be successful following this. So it's like a duplicatable thing. So even with the microphone, as long as we're reviewing projects, like on the crypto side, we're reviewing projects that we like the fundamentals about, then great, because it's like, because you can get a big enough microphone, you can pump something even if there's no fundamentals behind it, just because you're buying it. For example, Crypto Banter, and I like him, but it's funny, he's like, yeah, every investment we've made has been a winner for the last, 18 projects. The only 2 that I lost money on are the 2 that I secretly didn't tell you all about. Okay, so listen to what he really just said. I made money on these 18 because essentially he bought them, and then he talked about it to his audience and they went up. And yeah, he made money. But the 2 that he was subject to the rules that everyone else was subject to, he lost money on. So it makes it seem like he's a really good investor. He is better than most of your YouTubers are not very good investors. I know I'm being snobby on that. They're just, some of them are good at talking, which people want to be entertained, right? Or they're just talking about what's going on in space, which is fine, but they're not good at analyzing like all the different mechanisms behind it. Crypto Banter at least has a finance background and everything, but that's the microphone effect that you're seeing there. And so like, there is some concerns that you get so big. If you're talking about projects that don't have strong fundamentals, you'll pump it way up. Your audience is buying this project because of it, and then they get dumped on because there's no fundamentals to begin with. And I worry about that. But you can use the microphone effect for fun things too, and that's what this Pokemon purchase is. It's just a fun thing. Kabuto, where it's just like it's a collectible card. You're creating its own value through the story, but like Pokemon values generally have accepted value. He's just making this character now famous where it wasn't before. And that's fun and fine, as long as your audience kind of knows that's what you're doing. And it sounds like that's exactly what he's doing. And it's also fun because he's then like the Kabuto, like king, like of like this card, and he dominates it. Could we do something like that? Yes. If we did do something like that, we'd be transparent with our audience that like, hey, we're having fun with this and buying a bunch, so that like you all have like good information on what's going on here. So will we probably do something like that? Only if it's fun, like, like for a VeVe collectible. Yeah, totally. That would be fun. Like we decide we're going to stock up on something like Darth Vader commons, which I'm a big fan of, or something else, and we just go crazy and buy up 50% of the supply. That'd be funny.
And then I get drunk one night and burn my supply. No!
Whoops, dang it. What was I thinking? I shouldn't have taken Patron and acid together.
I just saw a video of, I assume it was a scientist. It might not have been. Some germs on a slide, and then they pour some tequila into a thing, and they take a little drop of tequila, and then it just sterilizes the slide, all the germs die. I was like, I've never seen such a positive ad for alcohol that makes me want to drink and like destroy all the germs in my body. I know it's not how it works, but it seems like it. We should tell Abe that that's for Moonshot Price for Dfinity, please. We're actually having the Dfinity founder Manu Chowdhury over on the podcast. We'll be streaming with him on Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You've given me that link. I have not done anything with it yet. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, we definitely won't talk about price with Manu on it. You know, it might be safer now under the current SEC. The last 8 SEC, it was absolutely risky to talk about price with them because they were just looking for an excuse to take down any crypto projects that they could. So now who knows, like, if that's safe or not, but just out of not trying to cause problems for companies, we won't talk about it with price. But do I have an opinion on what I hope the price goes to? Geez, I was just looking at it earlier today as I was covering my top 3 / plus a bonus pick, like in Dfinity's in there. Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't do 100x or more. I mean, its market cap is so low. They have actual revenues coming in. There's a need for what they're doing. It's just awareness is so low on them that as the bull market really, like altcoins really kick off and people are looking for fundamentals, I don't see why it doesn't get massive awareness. And with massive awareness, I would think it would get massive traction on the token price, especially as their use case rolls out, that they have all these institutions that are like, okay, we have XYZ amount of Dfinity tokens. We get a discount on our trading fees. Sweet. And so then they put 100,000 or whatever the number is into buying Dfinity. And then can you imagine what that would do with where liquidity is right now? Like, obviously, they'd have to put more liquidity in because $100,000 purchase of Dfinity right now would drive the price up like 50x because there's such low liquidity. Anyway, so we'll see how that comes out. But join us for that interview on Thursday. One of the reasons I knew I needed a YouTube channel was because these interviews are golden. Like, this is where you decide how much you believe in the team behind it. And they talk about what's going on. You get these critical updates. Now, unfortunately, like the past year has been so hard to get founders on because most of them are kind of like, I think this is what's going on. Shoot, like this bear market has been really long and we're running on fumes here. And we don't want to come on an interview and make it seem like we're running on fumes, but we're running on fumes. Yeah. Dfinity, the bigger problem with them has been they're so busy. So they're not running on fumes because they have actual revenues coming in that are astounding.
They are crushing it.
I know. So it's just they've been so busy doing things. So we do have Manu coming on this Thursday. But that's the type of thing. Their market cap, like clearly people don't recognize that they're crushing it because the awareness on Dfinity is so low. Cool. That's what like a diamond in the rough looks like.
That's one of the other things that I'll get after one of these likely Debbie just goes crazy. I'm gonna load so much Dfinity. Again, the problem is it's so hard to buy a meaningful amount because there's not a lot of liquidity there. So they and that's a problem crypto wide. There's not a ton of liquidity in a bunch of places. Also because ETH had been low for so long. Arturo says, how many secret rare penny blacks do I need to be considered the Kabuto of VeVe stamps? Well,
you're getting there.
You probably have it. I mean, well, you've probably got. Yeah, you're probably there. Probably already there. Rain, how much owe me to convince you to grow a beard?
Grow a big beard, like. So as you can see up here, my hair is not extremely thick. So if I grew out a big beard, it just wouldn't look right. So I'm already going to, like, when things go crazy, I'm going to go to one of those specialists, not in Turkey, because you might get a good person. You might get someone who's day one of their experience. But go get some of this hair here to fill out through here, make it a little bit thicker. There's some things you can do for making your beard more defined. I'll probably do that too, because why the hell not? It's like girls get boob jobs. Great. I don't feel weird about getting my hair done. and adjust it right. But I just don't have the thickness. My hair is just so fine. Like it just, if I got thicker, it just wouldn't look amazing. So why do it? Just work on other things like my biceps and stuff and maximize where you have natural strengths.
Same thing. Same. Next week updates. Later fight and fit. I mean, I'm getting better. Getting better. Jason Pena. What first edition? Caterpie. What first edition we go after next? I remember Caterpie being one of the first ones I got like obsessed with. Like, why is this one $100? And this was 5-6 years ago, and it's, I don't know, $1,000 now for Caterpie first edition PSA 10. He's just difficult to grade, so there's not a lot of him in a PSA 10. You could, that is fractionalized at a PSA 9 because there's so many of those and 8s, etc. I will get back into the Pokemon market after this next bull run. I'll be buying a bunch. I'll keep you posted on what it is.
Yes, you will. Like, that's Randy's passion, right? So, as you can tell by his tattoo.
Have you taken a look at this bidding war that's going on between Netflix and Paramount for WB?
No, I just heard about what IP Netflix would own if they end up getting this. So, but I didn't realize there was a bidding war. I just saw that story for a second. I was like, oh, interesting. That's all I've seen about it. Tell me about it.
So Netflix was trying to buy most of WB at like $27 a share. What they were not interested in was a lot of the cable platforms that WB owns, which it's like Discovery. There's CNN is actually one of them, which I was really interested. Like, why wouldn't you want CNN? Like, I get it's a dying platform,
leaving money like crazy.
But it's because they're like super woke. If you make them like a fairly in the middle platform, then suddenly you get a bunch of viewers, I think.
But you have all these contracts with other hosts and stuff that then they have to buy it, and people, and they're just a losing proposition. I don't know the future is cable television. Why? Because the audience that still watches cable and television keeps getting older. Yeah. And anymore, like that was the big thing, but it had its lifetime, just like what Channel 5 and Channel 4 and Channel 14, had its day, and it's still a little bit relevant today, but in the future, like, people more going to gravitate towards those people in line with them, and cable news won't have its effect. I mean, when you're at the gym, aren't you usually watching if you're listening to something you're watching it, you're usually watching your own phone anyway, versus like the 5 TVs that are up there.
I saw a meme once, or it was like a TikTok video where this guy is just like, if you see someone at the gym and they're not listening to music, they're the most dangerous person in that gym. So I purposely now I don't play music because I want people to think I'm dangerous. So I just raw dog it, just go without.
I'm always listening to my headphones, but it ain't music I'm listening to. I'm listening to crypto content. I'm listening to self-development, self-improvement, because they're the ones you should watch out for.
It's true. Anyway, the Larry Ellison he started buying, and he's from Paramount Skydance. He owns that. He started buying. He went directly to the shareholders of WB, and there's like, okay, Netflix offering you 27, I'm offering you $30 a share, and he got enough of the shareholders where they're just like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And he owns a good amount of them now. So either Netflix or WB, they have to pay him a premium on that. He might make a couple $1 billion on it for him to go away, and which, cool. Or so they do a hostile takeover. They get the board, they get majority shares, and then they just like they get it that way. And I would rather Paramount get it, because as far as I know, VeVe does not have a partnership with Netflix, but we do have a strategic partnership with Paramount. And if they get Harry Potter and Game of Thrones and all of these other licenses, then suddenly all of them can come to VeVe. And I was like, oh, let's go. So I'm rooting for Larry Ellison in this. I'm rooting for Paramount, because then we can get all of their IP.
I do get concerned about consolidation of media into too few hands, but because I would actually like to see an antitrust against certain Google owned things like YT, because their politics, they have too much control. Like, it's good that Twitter is getting into video, because I want a decentralization, because like my channel got flagged 2021. I had some opinions that turned out to be way correct, but they were very politically incorrect to say, and I was growing at 4,000 viewers or subscribers per month, and all of a sudden it dropped to like 200, and then 100, and then it went negative. Like, and we were still in the middle of the bull market, and I was like, wow, okay, well, they didn't like what I said. So they've got too much power that they totally can like mess you up on one platform if you don't agree with their politics, even if you turn out to be right. So I didn't like that, and I don't like the consolidation of media into too many people or too few of people fans, because then there's huge power, and that if they don't like what you have to say, they can silence you. I don't like that kind of world. I like that kind of world that's like, yeah, there's multiple platforms. Okay, they're not going to carry my stuff. That's okay. I can build a huge out here. But for a long time on video, the only player really going is, YouTube. Too much power. And I don't want to see that with Larry Ellison either. It's like, okay, I don't know him that well, but I think we agree on some things. Even if I agreed 100% with him, I still wouldn't want too much consolidation in one person's hands, because then politics can come into play. I want everybody to be able to make their arguments without fear or favor, right? So it's just like, cool. Because sometimes I learn something. I have some very, very socialist friends I don't agree with much, but sometimes they make some good arguments. I'm like, I like that. And I want a place where they can make those.
Same. So agreed. This is where my greediness comes into play, because
You're right.
I want VeVe to get Harry Potter and DC Comics and Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. So what if people are going to get mass manipulated on a political level in the future and could affect our freedoms?
Well,
as long as VeVe gets.
I do feel better with Twitter having. Look, I want YouTube to have competition with Twitter video, and hopefully there's like another player, because that does balance it out. So it's like, if he owns a lot of traditional media, that's going to lose its power over time, because people can. What I love about YouTube is that people can make their arguments on it. So I just didn't really like it when YouTube started getting into political censorship. But if there's just one platform that thinks one way, because Google is very, very left leaning, so it's not too surprising the way they went. But like Twitter is a different overall bent towards that, and I'd love it if there's a third that's like even more different, so that just there's always a place for you to go that you can make your arguments. Because traditional media, it's so expensive to get your stuff on there anyway. I don't know.
Good point.
We'll see. So not like, they're not, Paramount's not going to call us up and be like, hey, Randy, hey, Rain, what do you think on this? So whatever's going to happen, happens. Trump's not going to call me and say, hey, do you think we should look at the Department of Justice should stop this deal from happening because the antitrust concerns? Surprisingly, Trump's not going to make that call to me.
I think we're selling ourselves short here. I think we got to shoot for the stars here.
Trump, just reply in the comments, Trump, and I'll give you my personal cell phone number so you can reach out, or have your people reach out to my people.
Shout out to Emily saying thanks for all the content. I think it was him and VeVe Kiwi, where their top channels that they watch in the YouTube year are us. We're 1-2, baby. Let's go.
Yes, that's awesome.
They're not. Yeah, I've seen multiple people, and I think O'Malley had that as well. We were on his list as well, so I was like, all right, I'll take that. Very excited about it. I had a couple of things that surprised me. Like my most played song was this thing called "Alien on My Mind." I had used to listen to it on repeat while I would write the comics earlier this year. So I was like, okay, I don't know. Did you do that? Take a look at your YouTube stuff. for the year?
No. No, I have been I've been trying to figure out what the next evolution of this is going to look like. I made this commitment through actually this month, 5 years ago. That was like, I will put out content along this line for 5 years. I'm agreeing with you guys for 5 years. I will be here, that no matter what. But after that, all bets are off. And so I think about what the future looks like. And a lot of my deeper research will be behind a paywall. Why? Because people don't appreciate what they're not paying for anyway. For the first 5 years, that was all for free. Now, you do get super added value if you join the Discord. And we've gotten access to private deals through the Discord. So you have to join the Patreon right now to get access to the private Discord, and it's $20 a month. But there have been some deals in there that are over-the-counter deals, hugely discounted, sometimes 30, 40, or 50% off, just other things. So it's more than made up for the monthly that a lot of people are paying. But in the future, it's it'll be behind that paywall. A lot of the deeper research and a lot of the public videos will be shorter, just more flashy and fun, with a deeper research behind the paywall. So I didn't look at the statistics, though I have been putting a lot of thought into what do I want to do with this channel? I'm still super passionate about helping people learn to make money for them. But how do I reach out to a wider audience without doing what BitBoy or some of the other people have done, where they take on these sponsors, shilling things that I wouldn't feel comfortable shilling in order to make big revenues. And, talking about things when they're hot. For example, when Cardano was $3, I didn't cover it very much. Why? Well, a bunch of my friends that were YouTube people, they're like, yeah, I'm getting so many views on my Cardano, I'm just going to focus 100% on Cardano. I was like, I'm here helping people buy low, and I don't know what to think about the $3 price. It's not low. Will it go up further from here? It could. I don't know where it'd go, but it's definitely not low, so I just can't talk about it. So, but they're like, yeah, but I'm getting so many views. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. That's just not my thing. So the problem with covering things when they're really, really cheap is that nobody's searching for those actual projects. If I do a video on DevvE, do I think DevvE is massively underpriced right now? Yes. Do you think that reaches an audience outside of what I already have? No, it doesn't. And so it just doesn't help you grow your audience that big, talking about things when they're cheap. It is the right thing to do so that your audience can hear your analysis on why you think it's undervalued. They can then do further research and make their own decision on it. So I guess I just have a different view than most people on YouTube, in that I'm here as an investor. I want to help people learn how to do it the right way so their money makes money for them. Certain things I won't do, which is talk about things when they're already massively expensive and be like, yeah, I love it. We should all buy it. And it's it's up 100x already. It's not a good time to buy. Yeah. So I think about that problem and what fun things. Plus, I'm not going to have as much time as I have this last 4 years, because I'm going to be doing crazy things. And so some of the videos will be very superficial, covering traveling and the stuff that I hope you all get to do, because you're investing during the bear market, and then you get the massive gains, and then you're thinking, cool, I'm still going to do some crypto, but what else am I going to do? What are the fun things out there? Sports cars, travel, crazy vacations, fun, crazy things that you can do once your money is making a lot of money for you.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. We've got many plans. Might start enacting on those plans in the next 6 months. I know it'd be great to roll into stuff that hasn't run up yet, and we'll do that too. But for me, I think the first big kind of jump up there, I'm gonna have to take some and take it out for little old me, and then put it in some other stuff.
You can get burnt out so it's called delayed gratification. I did have the blessing that when I was 34, I met this guy, and I was getting my real estate license, and this guy, so I was taking the classes, but you could choose where you're going to take your classes at the different schools they had. And one of my friends is like, you got to take the real estate finance class from the guy out of this other place. I'm like, that's a long ways. I promise you it's worth it. So I go and I'm listening to this guy teaching. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? This guy knows so much, but and so he's teaching at the school, and he brought pizza for the whole class. I'm like, who the five pizzas for his class? Like, that's probably what he made from teaching that class. I'm like, something is weird about this. Who the hell is this guy? He has a long ponytail, has jeans, he has a belt buckle, and he drives like a 15-year-old truck. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? He is so smart. But I could just tell by the way he's talking, he was not a normal guy. And so I talked to him after class. He's like, oh, yeah, I have real estate brokerage. I teach some investment workshops. You should come to one. I'm like, tell me about it. So I go to the investment workshop, end up becoming friends with him, and then I'd buy him lunch. So I find out later he's worth about $200 million. He does whatever the F he wants to do. And one of those things he likes doing is teaching real estate classes and then buying the whole class pizza. Like, okay. So when you're rich like that, you can do whatever you want. And so what's funny about sometimes people that rich is like you offering to buy them lunch, like never happens. Everyone expects them to pay for everything. So he's like, sure. And so then I would get all this time with him because I wanted to think like he thought. And I learned about really buying low. In real estate, same thing. Real estate applies, and so many people do real estate investment wrong and think real estate doesn't work. It does work if you're doing it right. It just doesn't work as well as crypto because you don't have to manage tenants. The cycles in crypto are so much lower. There's just so many things that make crypto way better than real estate. But real estate is a great way to make amazing money over 40 years. Crypto is a great way to make amazing money over 8. 4 if you're lucky, but probably 8. So anyway, so I'm learning from this guy and just soaking it all in as much as I can, at 33. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So he really kicked off that journey of learning how to make money for me. And, now he still does whatever he wants. Like last I heard, he became a professional gambler in Vegas, changed his name because he created like a card player name and like just whatever, right? Just strange stuff, right? After he was living in Arizona at the time, he moved to like Wisconsin because he wanted to build a house that could heat and cool itself with no outside electricity to heat it in the freezing temperatures of Wisconsin.
Yeah, very cold there.
So we'll be doing some fun things, but they won't be those same fun things. We're not going to build a house in Wisconsin.
One of the things I want to do, and this is not necessarily going to be good for anyone unless the people I hire. This is not going to be, there's no lesson that's going to be taught here, but I want to go and work at like Target for like a couple of weeks. And I want to get, I want to play like the character of just like, military vet. And I'm just trying to re-go into civilian life and then have a helicopter land on the roof, and then guys in like suits with like other guys like come in and be like, Captain Chavez, we need you for this mission. And I'm like, can't you just send like Bergerman? And I was like, sir, they have Bergerman. And I'm like, oh, good God. And then I just get escorted out by all these people. And then all the workers the last few weeks be like, what the heck just happened? Is that a helicopter? He just leave, and then just leave like a legend. And
oh, that would be so funny. Kind of like undercover CEO, but like you're not the CEO, but like undercover Chavez. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I've wanted to do that for a while now.
That's so funny. All the people that worked with you, your boss who treated you shitty because like, oh yeah, this vet, blah 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 blah, and they like bring your like $250,000 watch, when they come pick you up.
I was talking about watches the other day, and a bunch of people here are really big watch people. And they're talking about like, yeah, buy this for functionality and buy this for whatever. It's like, I was never a watch dude. I don't know anything about them. I kept that watch that they give you in basic training for like 3 years. That was like the best watch I ever had. That was so good.
That's sentimental value.
Yeah, it was pretty legit. It was just functional. It worked. There where you shoot. It was pretty cool. I think that's all I got for today. You got anything else before we bounce?
Yeah, I just close with this. Like, look, I know a lot of FUD has been super high, and people are worried that like the bull market is not coming and it's over. And there's a lot of voices saying that. That's cool. They have their opinions. They're wrong on that. Like, the bull market is really just begun. Like, sure, I don't know how high Bitcoin goes this cycle. I do think it'll be a super cycle, but I don't know that it's going to be a super cycle. I just say the odds are pretty decent that it's a super cycle. And the odds are really strong that the altcoin rally has not really hit yet. Now, that's coming. ETH is probably about to pop in the coming couple of weeks. And then that will roll into the other altcoins either sooner or a couple months later. But it is coming, and you're in the right place at the right time. If you're taking the right actions right now, this next year is probably going to go pretty crazy for you.
Hell yeah. These are one of those things where I was talking with someone about an investment recently, like today, and they're like, and I told them something that I was doing, which I would not recommend to anyone. Obviously, anything go to zero with little or no notice, and never put anything in that you are afraid to lose. Only put in what you're willing to lose. But that line is different from everyone. And I said, like, hey, I'm gonna do something a little crazy, probably not recommended, but I'm gonna take out some money on credit cards. I'll leave enough in there to pay, and I'm gonna get some more crypto. And one of the guys that I was talking to is like, listen, I did that last year, and it would have worked out better had I not done it. And I was like, okay, I understand that. I'm not doubting you, but that was last year before this tariff war. That was last year, before, a lot of things were uncertain. Now we're getting pretty and again, I could be wrong. And in this time next year, I could wind up saying, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I should have waited another 8 months before I did it. But for me, if I want to get as much crypto of solid projects as possible that I know stuff is coming in, I have no problem paying like a 15% interest rate on some of that when I could make some of the payments. And is it risky? Yes, but for me, it's worth it.
Randy's single, and he's got his expenses down really, really low, but that is a risk that like increases your leverage in certain ways. It's like the more you increase your leverage, the riskier it overall is. It'll break. Randy's in a position, you have tons in crypto already. And because you're single and you can control your expenses more, like if you're married, like that can ruin your marriage. That kind of risk. Randy's not married. So I didn't have a marriage to ruin. It can make things difficult. When you're single, it's like, oh, shoot, I have all this credit card debt and I can't pay it back right now. Well, they can't enforce it very much other than taking your credit to zero. Well, not zero, but 400 or whatever. So like, is that a risk I advise against? That's a risk I advise against to everyone out there. Like, that is super risky.
Agreed. And again, I would not recommend it to really anyone except maybe like my past or future self. Like, see what happens. And, you learn. Either way, you're going to learn. So
your future self will either be really happy with you or trying to sue you. I need to sue my past version of myself. That didn't go as well as I had hoped it would.
It's like when you go in and be like, I shouldn't have this second bowl of ice cream, but that's future Chavez's problem. And 30 minutes later on the toilet, be like, my past self now.
That's so funny. I love you, Randy.
I love you too, man. All right, let's talk off camera for a little bit.
All right.
All right. I will catch y'all later, everybody. We'll end the stream. Bye-bye.